So I want to do one final follow-up video to the last couple of topics I've been discussing. The first video I did was last Saturday on Saturday Speakdom, talking about why I'm so defensive, and I discussed kind of my recent discussions with my therapist about what's wrong with me and the issues I had in the past and how I became the person that I am today. Then I did a follow-up video based on a comment that I got that I wanted to clarify on. And the comment in the follow-up video, I kind of did a video elaborating on it, and it was called Judgmental Mentality and Internet BS. So if you haven't seen those speakdoms, I think you should check them out because they're linked to this one. So when I told that gentleman in the comment section, and it's not just him, other people too, when I tell them that their opinion doesn't matter to me, let me elaborate on what I mean by that. So when I say things like, I would rather listen to my therapist and my closest friends and business partners when it comes to criticism about me and as a person, than some nobody on the internet. It's not that I'm actually in the belief that people on the internet are nobodies, because I don't believe in that. If you've been listening to my videos, my speakdoms, you know that I believe that nobody is a nobody. I think that everybody has a gift here on earth, and that everybody should use that gift to their biggest potential if you figure out what that gift is. I've been saying that for years and years and years, and I do believe it. But the web creates a couple of things. It allows you to be anonymous and be anything you want to be, and that goes for all of us. But it also allows you to observe things with no context and comment on things with no context. This is basically what a lot of bad cancel culture is, or what a lot of, flame wars are about. It's one thing if you have constructive criticism for somebody because you genuinely want them to improve, but it's something else when you say something about somebody online and you judge them without having the whole picture of not just that situation, but other situations in the past. So the gentleman said, to reiterate what he said, and what I replied to is, he said that I think I know everything, and that anybody who disagrees with me I attack or whatever. And that's absolutely not true. I mean, it's objectively not true, because if I truly believed that I knew everything, I would have never gone into counseling. I would have never gone into therapy. I wouldn't be making these videos. If you listen to the videos I've done in this playlist, they paint the picture of the kind of person that I am, a very complex and flawed person. But at the same time, perhaps in the past I've come off a certain way. That's fair. And that's not going to be an argument for me. But to say that I am that person, there's not enough data about me online from people on the internet who don't know me. There's not enough data to properly formulate that opinion. See what I'm saying? There's just not enough. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I really want people to kind of understand the awakening I've gone through the past 9 weeks. I am so much healthier mentally than I have been in 10 years, and I'm not kidding. And a lot of you guys out there, I know for a fact, because I read the comments. I can't read all the comments on Geekdom 101 videos because there's thousands and thousands of comments, and I can't get through them all. It's impossible. And on some of the other videos on this channel, I get through some of them. But when it comes to the speakdoms, I try to read as many comments as possible, because these are real. Y'all, the speakdoms are real. That's as real as it gets on here. Y'all say things in the comment section that are real, or so I believe they're real, because again, I have no context. You could be lying, but I doubt it. And the comment sections are usually filled with a lot of supportive people and a lot of people who have their opinions, but also those who seem to be genuine. That's why I like making these videos, so we have the real, genuine side of people coming out, right? And I'm making this video because when you're online, you're going to deal with this kind of shit. You're going to deal with people projecting things onto you. And there's a couple of tricks that my therapist taught me about this that have really helped me out. And I want to share this with you guys. So the first thing you have to understand is when somebody says something about you on the internet, right? The first thing you have to do is understand that just because they say it does not make it true, especially if they don't know you. The point I was trying to get across in the last couple of videos, especially the last one, is that the real me, Danny, not Geekdom 101, the real person behind the YouTube channels, often seek criticism from my friends my business partners and my therapist. I'm paying my therapist a lot of money. My therapist is a PhD in psychology, not a psychotherapist, not a social worker. The highest level of psychology you can be, because I wanted to go to the top. I am paying her a lot of money to help me, and it really has worked out for me. It has, I swear to you, it's worked out, right? So if I really want criticism to improve and become a better person, that's who I'm going to go to, because they are trained in making people better, in fixing problems, because a lot of our problems and our personality problems come from trauma. They come from something we dealt with. And like I said 2 videos ago, my trauma was a combination of things. Me being homeless and having PTSD about it is what caused me to be so defensive about Gita 101, but also other things when I was a kid. Like, for example, many of you guys know that I hate being called a liar. I've talked about this a lot. I do not like when somebody calls me a liar, and I got called a liar quite a bit last year over something I never lied about. So the reason why I hate being called a liar is because my parents lied to me a lot when I was a little kid, and they never believed me when I would tell them stuff. And so because of that, I have this weird sort of complex where I hate being called a liar, because the truth is I'm not a liar. Especially on my channels, I've never lied to my audience, right? Because I feel like I respect them too much and I have integrity. That's honestly how I feel, right? So when somebody calls me a liar now, after I've gone through this training, the first thing you have to understand is that it's not true, because I know the kind of person I am, and my friends know me, people in the real world. Because the thing about the internet is not the real world. No matter which way you slice it, yes, there's a real person behind all these accounts, but it's not the real world. They don't know you. That's why I constantly have been trying to tell people over and over again, you don't know me. You don't know Markiplier. You don't know PewDiePie. You don't know JonTron. You don't know these people. I'm just naming big YouTubers. They're here to entertain you. You might not like them. You might not like Tyrone Magnus. You might not like any of these guys. Or you might like them. It's your choice. You watch what you want. You might not like my content. If so, why are you here? I don't understand that. But you might like me. Most of you do, I would hope. I would hope. But you don't know us. Now, I'm very open about who I am on this channel with my speak-ins, but I still don't say everything, because there are certain things that I need to process and internalize, just like you guys. A lot of you guys will leave a comment and talk about how you had a bad day. Some of you guys did have a bad day, but you'll never leave a comment about it. And then you have every right to do that, because you're a private person, and I have to respect that, right? So, because of the fact that there's not enough context as far as who we are as people, being multidimensional people, nobody on the internet can know you. No matter how much of a prick. They can say that you're a prick on videos and things like that if they want to, but human beings are very balanced. You know, if I make a video where I'm saying something really stupid and ignorant, but then I go and I donate to charity or something like that, am I a bad person or a good person? The answer is I'm probably a good person with bad traits. That's how you look at things from a mature adult perspective. Because the reality is that most human beings are lawfully good. Okay? Most human beings are lawfully law-abiding citizens. They don't want to hurt people. They don't want to steal, rob, kill. They just want to live their life. Sometimes it can be greedy, because human beings are very greedy. But a lot of times they won't go so far as to take someone else's life or livelihood. However, we have human beings that do that. But most people are just people who want to live their life comfortably. That's what we're all here to do, right? So I like to believe what Maslow said, that we're mostly good. So I can't take anybody seriously online who says that someone else is a bad person they don't know. Like, I'm a bad person, or a YouTuber. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody. Oh, they're a bad person. But you don't know them. You have no idea what kind of person they are. And so somebody like me, who's not only now mature in his 30s, but also now at the point where I've passed a lot of counseling and therapy, and done a lot of, which I'm going to get into a lot of this stuff in the next few weeks, because I think it'll help you guys out, right? Trust me, I got some really good stuff coming up for you guys. So we don't take you seriously. Like, I can't take somebody seriously. when they behave like that. And that's kind of the main thing that, most trolls get ignored, but somebody who's adult and mature, we're just going to not take you seriously. We can't. So if you try to come at us later with something serious, we're going to look at you and be like, oh, you're that guy who said that. And so we have a lot of growing up to do. Like us as people, we have a lot of growing up to do. You know what I'm saying? And one of the tricks my therapist taught me is a lot of times what happens is because we're content creators, we end up being dehumanized. People don't see me as a human being. I'm just a voice to them. I'm just the guy who does a video. They don't see that I have issues, mental issues that I'm working through, that I'm better at, physical pain I deal with on a daily basis, emotional pain from guilt that I've done of things I've done in the past. I'm a very multifaceted person, like all of you. But that's not how some people see us. We're just machines to them who have to crank out videos. And so, once again, that's fine because we're disconnected in that aspect. But when the judgmental crap comes in, when they start saying things about your character, they dehumanize you. So what do? You dehumanize them. My therapist taught me that if somebody's coming at you, just picture them as being a little puppy. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Like a little doggy. Ruff, ruff. And you're going to be like, aw, isn't that cute? Which is kind of a soft way of looking at it. You can also throw a hard ball and say picture them as being a roach. So if they dehumanize you, if you mentally dehumanize them, you'll just ignore them. Now again, I'm not encouraging flame wars. On the contrary, this is actually the opposite of that. Sometimes you don't want to respond back to them. Sometimes what you want to do is you want to do what's called mindfulness, which I'm going to get into a whole other speak to them about this, bro. So don't worry. This is all building up to a future video. All these videos do have like a bit of a, continuity to them, albeit loose. So it's good to hear them in order. And so when I told that gentleman that I would rather listen to my therapist than some nobody on the internet, it's not that I think he's a nobody. Because like I said in the last video, he might be a great man, great husband, great father, great brother, great son. I don't know that. I don't know. And that's the point, is I don't know. So think about this one. This is another trick. So let's say somebody on the internet calls you a liar, or calls you calls you a pervert, right? Or whatever. I'm just throwing words out there. If somebody insults you in a way, they say that you're stupid, you're not very smart, whatever. If you pretend like they're a pedophile, right? In your brain, pretend that they are a pedophile. All of a sudden, that insult means nothing. Yeah, I might be that, but you're a pedophile. Now, obviously, they're not really a pedophile. Hopefully, knock on wood, right? But the idea is, you can use that, you can use the animal analogy. The idea is you cut their balls off. Because you can't let them get to you. And I'm so proud of myself, guys, because 2 years ago when I would get attacked, I would just skewer somebody and barbecue them in the roast. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm just not. I mean, that guy's inside of me still, because I still have, I'm defensive about certain things. But I remember the other day some guy tried to argue with me about something Dragon Ball, and I told him he was wrong, and I showed him an example of it. And then he comes back and says, no, you're wrong. And I told him, I said, listen, man, I'm not going to let you ruin my day. You are not going to ruin my day. Believe what you want. I'll believe what I want with evidence, and we'll leave it at that. Because I just don't have time anymore. Like, I don't have time to go in there and have a back and forth debate with somebody, or an argument on Twitter or on Facebook over Dragon Ball or over Star Wars or whatever. I just don't have that kind of time, because it'll never end. We'll be at it for hours. And Lord knows, a couple years ago on Twitter, I would be on there for hours fighting with people. I'm not that guy anymore. And I'm proud not to be that guy. Right? And it has to do with just growing up and being emotionally centered. So if I need criticism from anybody, I'm certainly not going to go on the internet to get it from people who I don't know. I'm going to go to people who care about me, not validators. Oh, your friends have to say that. See, you can get away with saying that bullshit, but the only problem is that I'm going to a trained therapist who's not my friend. And if this person who's unbiased, whose job it is to make me better, who's got very high reviews in Google, if that's their job, right? That's what they get paid to do. That's what they went to school for years. I know for a fact they can prove to me that their criticism of me is valid based on what they've learned about human trauma and human behavior, right? It's not based on projection or envy or the starving need for attention that trolls have. See what I'm saying? It's based on somebody who genuinely wants to help you and who is paid to do so. So who am I going to believe? The guy on the internet or the therapist? And that's why what blows my mind is when people say that I have a big ego, right? Here's what's funny about that. Here's where we completely cut their balls off. So my therapist, because I've asked my therapist multiple times, do you think I'm narcissistic? And she says no. She says you may have traits of defense mechanisms, but I don't think you're narcissistic. So, if a trained therapist says that I'm not egotistical, why would I believe some goofball on the internet? But here's where things get interesting. For somebody to make a judgment call about someone they don't know and assume that they know that the person has a big ego basically makes them the egotist. Because you have to have a lot of ego and audacity to try to judge somebody else without you knowing them. So you're the one with the big ego. Because you think you're smarter than the therapist that pays me freaking money. And that guy who I responded to in the last video, right? Before that, he left a comment. He was like, hey, man, it's not just me who feels this way. I'm just delivering the message from other people. I'm like, dude, I don't care about these other people. I don't care. Let me break it down for y'all. I swear to God, I do not give a fuck what people think about me who I don't know or respect. I don't care. I used to care. This is a new Danny. I don't care. I don't care if it's 100 people. I don't care if it's 200 people. I don't care if it's 1,000 people on some Facebook group posting my face and making fun of me on a daily basis. I no longer care about those things because what they say has absolutely nothing to do with who I am. And number two, the fact that I'm being talked about this much means I'm doing something right. It means that I'm known. It means that I'm successful to a degree. And at the end of the day, their platform will never be as big as mine because people who have big platforms don't waste time gossiping about other people and groups and things of that nature. So I don't give a damn if there's 100 people who think I have big ego because they don't know me. Because nobody who knows me says that. So why would I give even 1% of validity to these people? And that's my point. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Because you guys can learn from this as I have. Don't give them even an inch. Because they don't know anything about you. And I will say this. Sometimes when those people criticize you, they are onto something. Right? Because without question, right, I was definitely defensive, and that is from the ego in the past. So there is a hair of truth to it in the sense that I've behaved that way, right? But once again, it goes back to what I said earlier in the video, which is good people that do bad things or have bad traits. You know what I mean? I've never once on this platform ever gone after somebody. I made one fucking video about someone else in defense of myself. One. I've never just attacked someone out of the blue. I've never done drama. The closest I've ever come to that is jokes I made on Q&As 5 years ago when I first started, before I grew up. I've never looked for trouble on this platform. Right? So the fact that I know that for a fact, and the fact that my audience that cares knows that, I'm already good. You know what I mean? People bring it to me, and then I have the right to make a decision at that point and say, okay, do I want to retaliate or do I want to just chill? And it just depends. But nowadays, there's a lot more chill than retaliate, because if I retaliate, a lot of these people need attention. They're dying for attention because their actual life sucks. They're lonely. They don't get any respect in their life. They're stuck in a dead-end job. They don't have wives or girlfriends. They just, and this is the truth. I mean, and again, someone's going to sit there and say, well, how do you know that? Aren't you judging? No, I'm using a generalization. Somebody out there might not have any of those problems, but there's got to be something wrong with them. And I say that with 100% certainty, because people who are positive thinking people who are positive thinking, right? People who try to achieve goals, who try to make their living conditions better, improve their business, improve their love life, improve their career, everything, don't have time to sit around gossiping and wondering what the next guy's doing. I don't have time for that. I don't sit here in Discord servers like these guys do talking shit. I don't have that kind of time, bro. Or if I do have, I do have time, but I'm not going to waste it doing that, because what's that going to accomplish? So at the end of the day, what makes me smile is those people he was talking about that claim to judge me or whatever. I'm inside of their head. I'm literally in their head. And the beautiful part about all this is I don't even know who they are. So they're not even in my head. There's been times where I've blocked people on like Twitter and I forget they even exist. Like, you don't get into my head, bro. If I get mad and I block you, right? That's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to forget about you within a day. You know what I mean? There's one guy in particular who just is constantly saying shit about me all the time. I don't know if he still is, but he used to. All the time, right? I forgot he even existed. And there's probably a couple guys like that I'm not going to lie. Probably a few. And not only did I forget they existed, but I forgot what the hell I did to them to get them so pissed off. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny to me. But that's just the way it is, yo. So the best thing you can do to keep yourself mentally healthy is to do what I told you is remember that they don't know you, that what they say is not necessarily true. It may be true, but it's not necessarily true. If you want answers about who you are, if you really want answers, ask a therapist, ask a loved one who's not going to validate you. Don't ask a validator. Ask a real friend who wants to see you improve, a mature friend who's not just going to suck your dick. Someone who really, cares about you. Hey, man, am I an asshole? Well, sometimes you can be a dick, but I love you. And then you elaborate from there. It happens, man. That's how you do it. And then seek to fix those problems if you see them as being problems, which you should. But don't believe some guy on the internet who's just projecting his own insecurities onto you, because that's what they do. It's projection. They have insecurities. They have, like I said before, small dick energy, right? They're in need for attention. They don't get any in their real world, and that's how they behave. So the best thing you can do is just ignore them. And not ignore them completely, but ignore what they have to say. Because what they say is not you. And as you grow older, you develop more self-awareness. So by the time you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you have more self-awareness, you're more mindful, and you know yourself better than anybody else could. You know your flaws, you know what you got to work on, and then you don't need anyone's criticism. Except for, like I said, your close ones, your loved ones. Because at the end of the day, your friends and your loved ones are the only ones that you should give a fuck about. The only ones that you should truly, truly fight for. Because they are your support system. And you never want to lose them. Thanks for watching this very long speakdom. Hope you had a great day. And yeah, I love you. Because I know that you're flawed just like me. And I know you're going to get better. And I mean that. I'm not kidding when I say that. That's legit. We'll talk soon.